as a fan, I truly don't know what I like. As an artist, you make me like it. You know what I mean? Like if you giving me some new shit and I'm like, oh, I didn't know I would like this. You know what I'm saying? Then you are actually expanding my ears and your artistry at the same time.
Yeah, Camden got the catalog, got the hits and stuff that you remember, but when you put them on that stage, do they have the presence? It brings all those all those instances to the forefront, and just like, yeah, he has a nice catalog, but when you put him on the stage versus this person, it's
MC.
It's not even a question.
Performance.
It's what's going to get the crowd.
My question to you is, why don't we allow it? Why do we want to keep these artists in the box? You know what I mean? Like we don't even allow them to expand.
You gotta maintain while sprinkling in a little bit. But then as it kept going, his style just kept evolving and going, and it went in a totally different direction. Now it's like we don't even see resemblance of Kanye old style to this new style now. And I can understand how you saying like, nah, I don't appreciate that. He done kind of lost me completely on that. That is the battle that they're gonna constantly like play on these things. Welcome back, people. This is Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. I'm your boy, Mr. Prez, and with me always,
it's your boy Kash, aka Exec P, one half of the DSC. Man, we back, episode 144. What's happening?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, Kash, for the new people who don't know about us and never heard of us, can you please enlighten them?
Absolutely. Each and every week, Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast, we talk about music, sports, entertainment, culture. We have artists on, we have producers, we have people from all walks of life, book writers, you name it, we've had them on, entrepreneurs. That's what you can expect each and every week, but primarily it's music and sports. And this week is just like, none other, hot takes, barbershop talk between homies. You can get some X's and O's here and there, but for the most part, it's all opinion based. So
yeah, it's opinion based. I don't like what you call it, like hot takes. Like it ain't hot takes. It's just how I feel or how you feel. I don't necessarily call it a hot take. It's just truth.
Yeah. And a lot of tangents.
For y'all who've been rocking with us for a while, like y'all know, just to keep these things going, if you can help us out from time to time, we got the Patreon up here, got all the links. I know Kash got it everywhere. If you can, if you feel so, if you're feeling a little loose this month and want to give to us, we definitely appreciate it. Like if not, you can go buy t-shirts, wherever. I think he got it on the Teespring still on there. So, hey, just show some support. Continue to help us out to keep this going. We've been doing it for a couple of years, but it wouldn't be without the help of the supporters that we do have on Patreon. I mean, these monthly costs just to keep everything up and to high quality. We do have some expenses.
For sure. Like Prez said, those links are definitely in the description. If you're listening on audio or if you're on YouTube, you could just go to our link tree. Everything is in there as far as our Patreon. But if you don't want to look and you just you're listening, hey, it's patreon.com/DSC_podcast, Teespring/DSC_podcast. So that's where you can see this hoodie. You can buy this hoodie, and also Prez shirt he got on right there. You see him sporting it. You can also find those t-shirts on there. So we have our OG logo, and then we also have our most current logo. So, they both were fire. So, hey, man, more merch for you guys. So definitely tap in with that. And if you want to do the Patreon thing, we're going to step it up this year and give you guys more exclusive content and more of our just, behind the pod and just stuff that we are not going to include on the pod, but it's good conversation. So we definitely plan on doing more of those this year.
Yeah, we will have a Zoom call coming up in February. So if you want to be a part of that, that's depending on the tier you're donating on Patreon, you'll be a part of that. So, hey, We did all our selling point little part. So Cash, this episode, what, 144?
144, man.
144. Man, so what are we going to be talking about this week?
Hey, we got a little bit of everything. Like I said, we got some sports topics, NBA, the dog days of NBA, but, we are, right there at the midway mark, close to all-star game. And, teams are starting to figure things out. MVP race is out there. Westbrook has been benched. So it's a lot of things going on and the changing of the guard out here in the NBA. But, again, I love the game. So we're going to tap into some of those things. We're going to cover down on the NFL divisional round, a lot of close games. As we record this right now, there's going to be more games to be played. We're recording this on a Sunday, so we've already watched the Saturday games. We got a few hot takes on that, and we're also going to give you the full rundown of Sunday's games. And hopefully they're as good as the first two games on Saturday, which were really great games. Got a few singles that dropped, new Big Crit, new Young Blue. We also have some Mary J that dropped as far as singles featuring Dave East. As far as albums, Che Noir, Food for Thought. We also have RJ Payne, The Underground, came and represented this weekend with Beautiful Pain 4. So we're going to definitely tap into those because lyrical driven, and that's what at the core what me and Prez love about this music thing. So that's just a little bit of what we're going to cover down on. And then, we'll start off with a few things I've been seeing on Twitter. And just sometimes I have these thoughts and these talks in my head about just certain conversations about music and the landscape of it all. So, Prez, you want to start with my rapid fire question in the music lane?
Let's go. Hey, but you did leave off something first. You leave off something. Cash got a couple singles that dropped this last week too.
Oh,
Cash
yeah,
Flow.
man. Yeah, I'm back at it.
We'll be talking those too. Yep. But now let's go ahead and go with these rapid fire questions.
All right, man. Let's start with one. Artist growth, man. A switch up. Do you really care that your artist switches it up? Do you give them that leeway to switch it up? I harken back to the 808s and Heartbreak. Yay, that just immediately comes to my mind to when I first heard it, wasn't a fan of it. And then as years progressed, that's all you really hear in music. T-Pain is another artist where it was like, what is this sound? And then all of a sudden, that's the sound that took over. Also you got other people who have ventured and done other things like Andre 3000, you know what I mean? How he started with Southern Playlist of Cadillac Music and what he ultimately got to as far as just being a worldwide superstar with Outkast with those albums. The switch up is there and it happens. But my question to you is, why don't we allow it? Why do we want to keep these artists in the box? You know what I mean? Like, we don't even allow them to expand.
Man, this is going to be very, I think, opinion based, and like it's going to be what you prefer because, like, you named on a couple of persons. We'll start with the first person you named. You talked about Kanye. Kanye, started off with that sound, the backpack rapper coming in, driving what some people were already championing, like that Common, that the Talib Kweli, all that type of style rap. And like he brought it more to the forefront. And it was great to have that up there. And then he kept pushing it more and more and made it more mainstream for that type. And then he started adjusting and experimenting, but still maintaining with dropping those little nuggets of that same old style. So you gotta maintain while sprinkling in a little bit. But then as it kept going, his style just kept evolving and going, and it went in a totally different direction. Now it's like we don't even see resemblance of Kanye old style to this new style now. And I can understand how you saying like, nah, I don't appreciate that. He done kind of lost me completely on that. That is the battle that they're gonna constantly like play on these things. But you want to see most artists grow, get a little bit more versatile. You don't want them to stay in a certain little box where they would say like where you would relate that sound to an era, like say like 2003. Oh, they own 2003. You don't want them rapping 2003 style still in 2023. You want some growth up there where they continue to adapt and gain money, maintain their fame, and still be relevant in that space. You know, a la like Jay-Z, Nas, who still have that resemblance of where they started at, but it kind of adapted throughout time and evolved. Those are where. So now we talk about Kanye, and now we talked about Jay-Z and Nas. Like Kanye is my example of how I don't want you to change as an artist, and then Jay-Z and Nas is how I want you to adapt and evolve and continue to be relevant. Because no matter when their albums drop, it's an event, and they're gonna get the spotlight on them as it should be. But then now spotlight be on Kanye for different reasons. Nobody hear the songs. You got to go to a stadium and hear all this, and then it's going to be very polarizing on the audience that are going to see. You have some people that's going to be in my corner just be like, man, I ain't messing with that, man. That's not my type of hip hop. I don't like where it's going. And there's going to be some other people like, hey, you stuck in the zone, and this is where I think it should be going and everything. I appreciate those people. They some people want to change up, and let's mixing a little bit more gospel with it. Like, and he took Jesus walks to a whole nother level on this whole thing on his last album. So there you go. Going off on a tangent, so I stopped and let you go ahead.
It's cool. But yeah, for me, Prez, it's kind of like I feel like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So there's many different thought processes I have about it, and where I ultimately end up is, yo, if it's jamming, as a fan, I truly don't know what I like. As an artist, you make me like it. You know what I mean? Like if you give me some new shit and I'm like, oh, I didn't know I would like this. You know what I'm saying? Then you are actually expanding my ears and your artistry at the same time. I think what happens is when they switch it up so much, but it's not good. It's not a good switch up. They don't ease you into it. It's just a bam. I'm doing a country album a la Nelly or something. You know what I mean? For example, like that's something that's too far. You know what I mean? I get it. Country grammar, all the stuff that he's put out, even a country song at one point. You know what I mean? Just testing
over and over again, over and over that song. Like he kind of
did well.
Gave hints. He dropped hints.
It did well for him, but you can't forget the community that brought you to prominence. You know what I mean? And I think as an artist, as long as you still cater to the people that got you here, you'll be good. You mentioned Nas. I think of, Kiss, Pusha T. Their content and subject matter hasn't changed all that much, but they have done something else, which you mentioned with Jay and Nas. They've evolved with sounds. Fabulous is another one. Evolved with the sound of the time. They didn't stay stagnant in that sound. And I don't think they necessarily switched up the flow so much. I just think they evolved with the sound, and that allows for artists like them and others to do it. But again, as hip hop fans, I think we're selfish. So, when an artist appears to do mainstream shit, I really don't mind it, because if it sounds good, I like mainstream production. I like mainstream music when it's done right. And also, I get bored with a lot of, and this is going to the underground, I get bored with a lot of underground artists when they don't necessarily rap over different type of beats. You know what I mean? Like, it's only so much and so far that sound is going to get you. And if you want to stay in that underground lane, by all means, do it, because other people stay in the mainstream lane. But what I'm saying is when they rotate to a mainstream type sound or beat, or it ain't boom bap, or it ain't like drumless, or just like open space for them to just rap. And again, a lot of the underground artists have bad hooks. Not all of them, just some of them. Like, it's like, they rap the 16, then they rap the hook, myself included. You know what I mean? Like, but that's a subset genre that people like, and it is what it is. But I don't hold it against an artist, especially like, say, a Ransom started rapping on a Hit Boy type shit, or even the Russ joint that he rapped on. Brand sounded great on the Russ track that he was on. He killed it. I wouldn't mind hearing him on those type of beats and not necessarily the stuff that he's comfortable with. You know what I mean? Because I think he can do it at a high level and the lyrics are going to be there. I think he'll put those at the forefront. So I'll allow it if it's good. That's my long-winded way I'll end it.
And that's just, what do the artists want eventually? Like, or if you're chasing that status, that if you're trying to be the GOAT, like, you have to be versatile. That's I think that's what it's gonna come out to be ultimately. Like, if you're chasing that, if you want to be mentioned in those top, like, you gotta be versatile.
Let's stay right there. Point. Let's stay right there. That's an excellent segue to the second half of just some of the stuff I've been reading online and just conversations that I think about that we should have. Like, can you be considered a GOAT with not being a versatile artist, to be able to hop on R&B, to be able to switch flows, to be able to do different type of sounds? Can you be considered a GOAT if you don't do those things?
In certain people minds, yes. But when you come into like the talks with majority of the people, you're gonna get lost in the shuffle real quick, because somebody's always gonna throw out a name where they done did it in this arena, that arena, bam, 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 and kind of stood out constantly. Like, where the body of work or whatever you're representing for this one, it's like, bro, this sounds the same as it did in 2007. Like, where's the growth? Where's this? Where's the inspirational song? Where like, when I start bringing stuff to the table, and I think this is where the verses came in and like kind of help us decide this a little bit and recognize it a little bit more. Now that we having these artists and you put them on the same stage, it kind of helps us decide that a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like, well, yeah, man, this dude got a catalog, but when you put him beside, we'll take Cam and Jada Kiss. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Cam them got the catalog, got the hits and stuff that you remember, but when you put them on that stage, do they have the presence? It brings all those instances to the forefront, and just like, yeah, he has a nice catalog, but when you put him on the stage versus this person, it's MC. It's not even a question.
Performance.
It's what's going to get the crowd.
Out. Yeah. Performance
like,
gets left out.
I think that kind of helps out. I mean, we have fond memories of Bone Thugs and Harmony. They have classic songs and everything. They're gonna be, mentioned in those right things. But now when you go up there and say, hey, put them up against anybody else, it's like, the catalog don't hold up like we kind of remember it to, or we want it to when we put it dead up front with somebody else's catalog. That's what I kind of appreciate from that versus what it has been doing, is things like that. Like, even to the point where we talked about Nelly. I think Nelly and Ludacris were one of the first ones we seen, and it was just like, Nelly should wipe the floor with him. But if he don't know how to put stuff together and put it out there, nah, Luda got that hands down, and there's no argument left to be had off of it. It was just like, no, okay, when you put it that way, Luda got it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, man, rapping was at the forefront of it all, and the performance was a very close second when you're talking about these verses and how the matchups go. It's just like sports, man. Sometimes it's a bad matchup, and you just have nothing for this type of artist who has everything you have, but they just might be a better rapper than you, an MC and performer. You have the hits, but it took a very long time to curate that hit. It took a very long time to put you right in the public eye to where you shine. But in real time, head to head, it's different. It's different. So, but back to the verse.
I think this is going to wrap into like another little portion, but I throw this out there. And I think this, when you said sports, it just popped in my head. It was just like, hey, on paper, these people would be looking good. Then they create those dream teams, a la Westbrook moving over here, all the triple doubles and everything. You want to put them in, you want to give them his accolades, and the shit just don't work out. It don't. So,
it's chemistry.
As much as the stats say this right here, as much as all that say right there, like when it comes and getting those chips and going and chasing those, being that GOAT, the chip, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's you come short on that. You come short, so you can't be in those conversations ultimately.
Right. The chemistry.
None of the greats got bench. None of the greats got bench.
Yeah, the chemistry, versatility, it all goes together for me. You know what I mean? Like, I like multiple flows. That's not necessarily something that is a necessity for me, but the beats, flows, it has to switch up when I'm listening to your projects and different type of tones that you give. You know what I mean? That counts for something when you're making an album or EP. You have to be versatile and be able to get on different type of things. And that's just what it is. If you can't do it and you rap one type of way, one guy who gets a lot of credit, you know, is Currency. You know what I mean? And I know we going all over the place. We talking about greats. We talking about mixtape greats. We talking about guys and gals in all types of pockets. You know what I mean? That's the thing, man. Rhapsody is another one. She started on the Ninth Wonder beats and, you know, doing things a very boom bap way, but then evolved into what her latest album is right now, as far as when she did the play up on black women and, you know, by their names, and I forget the name of the album. But I say all that to say this: it doesn't sound anything like her earlier works or mixtapes. So the evolution was great, the versatility is great, and the artistry of growth. Everybody doesn't grow the same way for me, you know what I mean, in versatility of the bars, but I just mean growth in terms of just your project standing the test of time and being like a captured moment in time, and it's timeless. You know what I mean? That really speaks to versatility. So if you can harness all that, then you should be in the GOAT talks. But if not, and you just a niche MC, then you can't be mentioned, man. And that's just where I'm at.